Yes, people. We are back live. We are back live on the Sarcasm City TV YouTube for another edition of the ManDem United podcast, the podcast dedicated to all things Manchester United. So please keep all your comments and questions Manchester United related, please, as well. Because I got this open as well. Eddie, what you telling me though? You good, fam?
I'm good, man. What a time! What a time to be a United fan, dog. That this last week, man, I can't remember the last time I had a feeling like this, man.
Absent. Yo, absolutely. We're gonna get into all that. I see you smiling over there.
Yeah,
It's been a
man,
minute since we've been
it's been a
smiling like this. It's been a
minute.
strong minute. So we are gonna discuss all those things. Obviously, Manchester United, Carabao Cup winners, the FA Cup win against West Ham, obviously the big game on the weekend as well, away to Liverpool at Anfield. But before we continue, we always bring you the best special guest people. Always bring you the best special guests. Those that have been watching for any period of time know, obviously, I make music, I host shows. So this guy I'm here about to introduce is one of the most talented people I know, period. Like one of the most talented. Man can sing, man can rap, man can produce, engineer, you know what I'm saying? Host shows, the whole nine. Welcome to the stream. You know what I'm saying? Making his Sarcasm City TV debut. Man like 1023. Yes, fam. What you saying, man?
What
You good?
up,
Yo,
though?
what up, flawless? Yo, I don't even know what to say there. You know what I mean? He's gassing me up there. Big
It's fine.
expectations, putting him on straight away. Nah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Nah, yeah, like I said, thank you for bringing me on. I've
Anytime.
been watching. I've been watching these things for a minute. It's always enjoyable to talk about United, and I like what you're doing. And as soon as I knew you was doing it, I was just like, I've got to be involved somehow, some way.
You
You
did
got
say
to
that.
get
That's
me on.
what's up. That's what's up,
You did
man.
say
Glad
that.
to
So
have you.
It is. It's facts. And people, when I say that, I'm being legit serious. Obviously, like I said, some of you lot know I do the mic check shows and I be hosting shows. 1023 is one of the acts who's a regular on the cards as well. So make sure you get down. But like I said, raps, sings, produces, engineers, the whole nine when it comes to music. Like I'm not
I
lying. So make sure
appreciate
you
that.
get.
Appreciate that.
We're gonna drop all his socials, so make sure you can get to everything anyway. But we're here, like 1023 said, to talk all things Manchester United. So we'll start West Ham game. You know what? We'll start there with the West Ham game. 1023. Talk to me. Thoughts on the game because you was there, right?
Yeah. So I was
Yeah,
there.
you was there.
So
Okay.
So, like we were speaking prior before, this amazing run that we've been on so far, the wins that we've been piling them up since this World Cup, and even before, we've been getting through. But the wins, the games coming thick and fast, and I just felt like at some point we might just slip here and there because obviously it can't all be sunshine, forever. I feel like
Facts.
at some point there's gonna be a point where we're gonna slip. And if, in all honesty, when I see in the team sheet, I was a little bit like, I feel like this is the game where we're going to slip up
Yeah.
because there was a lot of changes. I'm
Facts.
definitely not a big fan of Maguire and Lindelof together. It just reminds me of Ollie, and it just
Man.
reminds it reminds me of bad times so much
Yeah,
that you know
man.
what I mean. That I'm just feel like no, it can't be done. So yeah, came to the game first half so sloppy, like really sloppy. The passing, the midfield
Mhm.
battle was just lost instantly. Like I think there was like a 5-10 minute period where I felt like Scott McTominay was doing something, but I feel like he was just happy to be on the pitch. You know what I mean? Where he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it a little bit. A couple passes here and there, but even the passing that he was doing, he's like
Mhm.
it's not like pinpoint passing. It's not like, quick, fast, accurate passing. It's just like skying it to you, taking
Okay.
10 years to get to the players, 10 years to get out wide. So that first half, so many chances fell to West Ham. The
Right.
Antonio moments,
Antonio did.
I was
Yeah.
literally biting my nails off thinking, this is it. It's not going good for us. But, on that note, defensively, we have been very solid. We have been very solid. The what can you expect with Lindelof and Maguire? I always feel like we've got leaky moments, but at the
Yes.
same time, like we have been solid, and what Ten Hag's been doing, feel like working on how we defend as a team, as a unit, properly from front to back. I feel like it's making us a little bit more steady, a bit stable.
Yes.
So after that first half, we went in. Second half came out. He made the change. Even with the change,
Yeah.
watching that first half, I felt like Garnacho was struggling a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I
He
felt like
was.
he looked a little bit off the pace, and I just thought
He was
maybe,
struggling.
if it was me, I was thinking maybe take him off.
Mm.
Bring Rashford on. Maybe push Bruno out to the right, maybe like
Mm.
he did. But I didn't think I just felt like Garnacho was the one who was slipping a little bit, but you know, here I stand again wrong. You know, Eric Ten
Hag
Hag,
again with his subs,
he
man.
knows
With
with the
his subs is
subs. You
ridiculous,
know,
man.
for me
Yeah.
to even question him,
Ridiculous.
stupid, because he's just clinical with those substitutions mid game. It's crazy how good he is with him. So yeah, props to him for making the right decision and leaving Garnacho on. But that second half, I mean, more direct. Garnacho grew into the game massively. Like everything seemed to be going well through him. You know, but even with that first goal that we conceded, it was so sloppy. Like the defending, just
It wasn't
such
the
a.
best. It was a banger though. I have to give Benrahma his credit.
Yeah,
That is
no,
one of them.
it was, but
Yeah.
the defending was
wasn't good. We could have
the
got the hat trick.
defending wasn't good, but the strike, it's a beautiful finish. But even then, you know, once we went 1-0 down, I felt to myself like we can easily get back in this. I felt like the changes have been made. We were doing the right things. Like we're starting to see the patterns of play coming again, the changes that he was making, and you just knew that we had a goal in us. I always feel like we're going to score. It's just who scores the most. That's what I always feel. I always feel like we're going to score. So that own goal as well, because obviously where I sit on the north side. So I thought it was Veggie who scored at first. I was
Yeah,
like
same.
jumping around, like,
I was doing the watch along. I thought it was
massive
Vegas
out,
too.
yeah,
I thought
massive
it was-
out. But yeah, once that own goal went in, I just knew then straight away. I was just like, that's it. It's game over. Like the pressure will be on. We'll put it on them. They'll crumble underneath the pressure. And you know, there we go. Super Fred again. Super Fred, mate. Super Fred the Red. Super Fred the Red. I mean,
Pastor Fred.
You're talking to
Pastor
someone.
Fred.
He's a big fan of Fred.
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
I'm a massive fan of Fred. I wasn't a huge I didn't know tons about him when he first came. Obviously, like most people, watched a load of shots out of this. I watched a load of highlights, and you thought, you know what, this guy can probably do bits when he comes to United. His first touch, his ball control, everything was a mess. When he first came to United, everything was a mess. But he just had that dog in him and that energy. He just buzzed around the field, and he was just non-stop, consistently all over the place, and he would just break up play. Like no matter what it was, whether he would just throw himself into you, do you know what I mean? But that's all he did at the time. But once again, you know, we're starting to see with Ten Hag, even these players that you feel like they're just bit part players, not even squad or just squad players, you see them really having an impact, and he's changing the way every single player that we have plays. Do you know what I mean? Like Wan-Bissaka's a massive one. Wan-Bissaka, when he first came, I was like buzzing. This guy can defend 1-on-1. No one's getting past him. But that's all he was. He was a slide tackle. He was. That's all he was a slide tackle. Do you know what I mean? I felt that's it. We need a new right back. He's getting shipped out. But Ten Hag's come in, and I don't know what he's done. Please keep doing it. But he's just turned him. He's just almost turned him into.
Please keep doing it. It's crazy.
Yeah, please keep
because
doing
I was
it.
with you on Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Go on, carry on, fam.
But please keep doing it, because the way he's changed Wan-Bissaka's play, you know, the way he's more direct now, and he looks like not crazy. It's not crazy, but like the way he looks going forward is even more of a threat now. Like he's willing to take people on. The way he pushes into the midfield, like he's more part of the team now, and the way we play. But yeah, I mean that West Ham game, the score flattered us. That, you know, it did, because you know the last two came quite very late. But yeah, I mean that's what teams like, you know, winning teams do. You know, trophy winners do. That's what we do.
Talk about it, man. Trophy winners do.
That's what trophy winners do. We win.
A fact.
We win whether we play good or not. Do you know what I mean? So props to Ten Hag again. You know, because like I said, that team that he put out, I wasn't confident, but he managed to do what he needed to do. Rest players for Liverpool, you know, and even so, you know, that they made cameo appearances. It wasn't the full 90 minutes. He didn't go full all out straight away. He managed to get a lot of players some rest as well. So I feel like we're going to see a much stronger team, obviously, come Sunday.
Yeah, 100%. Like I hear exactly what you're saying, Eddie. Before we get your thoughts on that as well, big up to you lot. Just under 40 of you lot locked in. Just under 40, only at 14 likes. So let's bump that up. Let's get up to 30. Let's go up to 30 likes, you lot. Let's double that. Well, less than double that now. It's now 16. So yeah, let's go up to 30 likes. Also, make sure you share this across the socials as well. And that's me, Flawless, Twitter and Instagram. Same with Sarcasm City TV. You can retweet and like from the Twitter, share from the Instagram, as well. So let's bump up the likes, share across the socials, and just as important, subscribe to the channel as well, Sarcasm City TV. Road to 6K, currently at 5,477. Only looking for 3 new subscribers. I know there's at least 3 of you lot who have not subscribed. Hit the subscribe button, people. That's the first subscriber mark. Eddie will go to you on the game. Obviously, I know you joined the watch along. You was in the chat towards the end. I think we might have been 1-0 down, or it might have been 1-1 when we first seen you in the chat. But yeah, I don't know how much of the game you caught, but whether or not you caught the full game or highlights or just the goals. Thoughts on it?
No, I was able to catch the whole game. I just wasn't able to be a part of the watch along experience like I usually am. And I tell you what, I echo everything 1023 said to the start of the game, where you look at that team sheet and you just get like that sudden jolt of PTSD, like, oh, who's playing in the back line? Oh, who's playing in midfield? And you're thinking to yourself, all right, it's like y'all say out there, it's a sticky one still, right? And you're like, okay, here we go. At least you and the thing that keeps you sane is the absolute faith that you have in the manager, that if it looks bad at any point in time, he knows what to do. He knows who to call on. And the first brother off the bench, that goddamn world-class Ramiro. I can't get enough of Casemiro. And just from the leadership to his impact on the game, how he does it all. Like, it's just, he's a DM, but he passes better than most attacking midfielders. He plays his part as a natural DM, providing that cover for the mistakes that might be made in the midfield. And then when the subs came on, it was a breath of fresh air. But to speak on one guy in particular, shout out to Weghorst. I think, because it's like he didn't get a goal or an assist, of course, but he had a monumental impact in a lot of the goals that happened. I think the majority of the goals he had some part to play in. It's different when it's a 6'7" dude jumping into the box, and you're just out there as a West Ham defender. You see all the lights gone because this guy's just jumping over you, towering over you. You make one mistake and you make it 1-1, and then the ball pressure that he put to get Fred in to score his goal. It was a sight to see, man. You got to see exactly what makes him unique for this Manchester United side. So great performance on his part. Just going over, a couple of individual performances. I thought Malacia played well. I thought, connecting to play, it definitely leaves more to be desired. But I thought the energy, the defensive capabilities he showed out there, I was impressed with that. Below, you can kind of see that he's getting back into form from his injury. He's kind of been struggling to get back. Like, I still can't get over whoever the hell sent him in that Carabao Cup final, had him on all fours doing the yoga positions, but we won't talk about that too much. We move. Who else was out there that I thought played? Anthony just being a nuisance. He'll get that right foot sometime soon in the near future. We'll see the right foot sometime soon in the near future. And then I'm gonna do a flawless shout out to my guy DDG. David. A couple of solid saves.
Crazy.
Saves. The distribution wasn't too bad. That's the thing that I look for with De Gea. If the distribution is bad, it kind of washes away all of the great saves, because you're putting yourself in position to make a couple more saves by the way you're distributing the ball.
Fact.
So for it not to be too bad this game, it was a blessing. And then I guess to finish up the subs, and Garnacho struggled, but I think what you can start to see about him is a certain mentality, a certain, I'd say, like, relentlessness to keep going. It might not look pretty all the time, but he doesn't seem like the type to get too discouraged, which is a good thing at his age.
No quit.
Hell of a goal. Like, there wasn't too much that the the goalkeeper could do with the way he placed it. And yeah, man, just for it to kind of switch, because like we said, the first half was shocking, but I think again because you have so many players who were trying to get the chemistry back of actually playing together. Right, we had a solid kind of starting 11. Then you add a lot of wholesale changes. There's usually a period of time that takes an adjustment for these guys to somewhat be competent, but at the same time, we're asking for certain things, and you have to look at the level of players that you actually have out there. Like
Yeah, yeah.
we wanted that security in midfield, but that's not really what McTominay is there for. And it's like McTominay. If you need him to deny people, it's for me, like McTominay's like a club bouncer for me. You know what I'm talking about? Like I tell all the time, you're not getting into the club if McTominay's outside. That's what you want him to do. But if you want him to be the party planner, the flyer distributor, that's not so much his thing. Let him go ahead, man the door, hold it down outside, and then we'll have Casemiro do the distribution. But yeah, just the mentality was dope to see. I'm just loving watching United, like we all said.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sunday's massive. Sunday is
We're
that
gonna get onto
thing,
Sunday.
Okay.
We are definitely, you know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying,
But shout out
gonna
to the
get into
boys for
Sunday.
Wednesday, man. The Wednesday, the goal. I thought the ball was out. That's
So
what I'm
did
pretty
I. It
sure. I
looked
thought
out
the
to
ball
me.
was out too. Yeah.
Yeah, even on the VAR when they pulled it back on a replay after I was looking on after the game, it still looked like it crossed. It still looked like it crossed the whole
It
line.
crossed a little. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought too, man.
Even on
Yeah.
the replay.
So it looked like thankfully enough for us, it didn't matter too much, and we
Yeah.
got the business. Thankfully, you don't. Hey, large up
Hmm.
everyone in the chat. I see you lot have started all the better questions. Continue to get your questions in. Keep
Shout
them
out to the
Manchester United
chat.
related. Large up the chat every single time. Of course, if you super chat, we'll get straight to your comment as well. Let's get again bump up these likes though. Like check 1212, man. Let's get up to 30 likes, people. We're only at 22. Big up to Daredevil, says big up Flawless and everyone else. Love from the USA. Looking forward to our visit to Anfield on Sunday to face Liverpool. It'll be a tough game, but I'm confident that we can win. Absolutely. Hey, Dennis, big up to you. Says big up Flawless. I wasn't in the stream yesterday for the Arsenal United podcast. Was just too pissed. Like, yo, you enjoyed yourself. That's all that mattered. You can go watch it back, innit? So go watch that back after this, people. Great show, innit? Obviously, special guests. We had Troops on, which was good. Tox was on as well. Cam and myself. So yeah, make sure you check that out. RJ says big up. RJ, I see you here talking about the Sheikhs and what is it, Sheikh Jassim and Jim Ratcliffe in regards to bids for Manchester United. So we'll discuss that. We're gonna get into that as well. Don't worry.
Shout out RJ.
Yeah, man. Big up RJ every single time.
Everybody in the chat as
All
well. Thank
it
y'all.
is. Large up as always. You lot continue to support, man. Much appreciated. But in regards to, obviously, Eddie just mentioned it there after he was finished talking. Manchester United, and that's the title of this video, the title of this episode. Manchester United look for their first victory at Anfield since 2016. I think definitely I'll keep it short on this. It's the most confident I've been going to Anfield in a long time. And I really think we can go there and pick up a victory. It's not going to be easy. It is their cup final. Klopp will have them up for it. The players will be up for it. Anfield will be rocking. But I legit believe we have the players and the manager to go there and get a victory. I don't expect it to be an open game. I think we'll win. I said 2-1. That was my prediction on it. I still think that. But I'm just if we can go there and win, I think it just adds even more momentum to momentum that we already got. Like it takes us in a whole new trajectory to go to Anfield and win. But 1023 will go to you. Thoughts on the game coming up at Anfield on Sunday?
See, you'd asked me this last season, I defo would have thought, or even early this season, I'd have defo thought this was a straight loss for us, an easy loss. But like you're saying, right now, I feel like we can go to any stadium, to any team, and we can put it on them. We can put it on Barcelona at home,
Yes.
and beat them at Old Trafford. We can defo go to to Anfield, and we can defo put it on a very shaky Liverpool at the moment.
Yes.
They are starting to find their feet a little bit now. But at the same time, the confidence in our camp is super high, and off the back of that Carabao win, off the back of that title, off the back of the numerous wins that we've been accumulating, I just feel like like you're saying, I'm the most confident I've ever been going into this game. And as long as we've got our, what I would consider our full starting 11, you know, no injuries, no knocks, I feel like we can go into that game and we can really put it on them. And I'm probably looking at maybe 2-0.
You're saying 2-0, so you're saying
I
clean sheet as well.
I don't feel.
Okay.
It depends who Klopp fields. To be honest, he's starting to get a couple of his players back. But even when I'm watching like Match of the Day and I'm watching a few things, like they don't look like the Liverpool of over the last couple of years who've
Oh, they're
just been
definitely not that.
absolutely smashing teams,
Yeah.
you know, and there's been so much pressure. Like I just feel like I feel like if you put Rashford on Trent, it's game over. If you put Rashford on Robertson, I feel like any of our wingers can do damage to both their fullbacks. I feel like Trent is defensively just probably one of the worst fullbacks I've seen in the league. Like as a defender,
Yeah, I get what
only
you're
as a
saying.
defender, you know,
Yeah, I
going
get what you're
forward,
saying.
he's got absolute skills. But I just feel like whether it's we put anyone, we could stick Anthony on him. I feel like we stick Jadon Sancho on him, you know, and he could do bits against him. But yeah, I'm super confident. I feel like as long as we've got Casemiro, as long as we've got Rashford, Varane, and Martinez at the back, I feel like it's a solid win. It's a solid victory, and that's what I'm looking at, and that's what I'm hoping for.
No, it makes sense what you're saying, and I understand why you're confident. We are confident going into that game. What would you? Let me ask you though. What would you do in terms of the midfield? Would you go with a midfield 2? Would you play a 3 in midfield and not have a 10, like similar to how we set up at home to Manchester City, where it was Casemiro, Eriksen, and Fred? Would you go the same, obviously minus Eriksen, and maybe play Casemiro, Fred, and Sabitzer, or do you go Casemiro and Sabitzer or Casemiro and Fred? Do you play Bruno out wide? How would you like to see yourself?
See, I like, but he's doing it. He's kind of changing it through the game, and I like it, even though it's not his natural position. I like it when he brings Weghorst into the 10 and he drops back a little
You're
bit.
saying Weghorst in the 10, okay?
And we push Rashford up top. I don't think he'll do that straight away. I feel like that's something that he does generally through the course of the game, through the subs. But I would like to see Casemiro and I'd like to see Fred with Bruno in the 10. Just because I feel like Sabitzer's class. Like watching him, already you can see the little glimpses of the class that he's got. You know, his tenacity to be able to get to the ball, to be able to get a tackle, to be pushing. You know, and the pressing that he's got. I can see why Ten Hag's brought him in, especially on a loan deal. You know, with what we was able to accomplish in that January window. You know, those both loans I feel like have worked for what we've needed at the time.
Facts, I agree with that. Yes.
So, but I feel like this is a massive game. Like you're saying, it's Liverpool's cup final. This because they got nothing else. For me, this is going to be, you know, all out for them. So I feel like with Fred in that midfield, he can really break up the play. And Casemiro is obviously just. I feel like we've probably got like 2 of the best players in the world currently at the moment on form. In Casemiro, I feel like he's probably looking at one of the best midfielders, you know, in the world right now. As a from a defensive point of view, like the stick that we were getting when he first came to us was unreal. Like, you know, for the price tag, Graham Souness with his legendary statements that he loves to throw out there every now and again. But like it just, I feel like there's no other better. I feel like he's the best midfielder in the Prem right now, and obviously Rashford is a worlder. He's doing things none of us thought that Rashford could do. You know, I was in the camp last season where I was thinking just for his sanity, and for his career, he needs to move himself. He needs to move himself on.
I hate people acting like, sorry to cut you off, like we wasn't all like 99.9% of us were in that camp. Like he wasn't good. Why are we acting like his form was good? Why are we acting like it seemed like he seemed unhappy and he didn't want to be here? And now because he's turning around, people are like, we've always believed in him. Like, no, his form was awful last year. So we criticized him.
Yeah, of course. I remember being at the games last season, and when he was getting brought off, they were cheering that he was getting brought off because it was so, you know, he wasn't impacting the team in any way. You know, he was clearly lost in himself and dealing with whatever he was dealing with. Erik Ten Hag, Mr. Eric, the mighty Ten Hag has managed to get him back on track. Whatever he said to him, whatever he's been doing with him, extra training, striking practice, whatever he's doing, you can see that that boy is fully running on confidence right now, and he believes when he's on that pitch that he can score and he can engage more. I feel like having those solid players like Casemiro and Rashford, and having them fit, having Varane. This is another thing. Is there anybody who has 2 World Cup centre backs in their team? Is there anybody right now? Is there anybody right now in the Prem with 2 centre backs that have won World Cup? Like,
don't think so.
It's and again, 2 centre backs that when they came to us, both of them were getting stick. Do you know? And you know, obviously Martinez for different reasons, his height, things like that. But Varane, like, you know, that he wasn't good enough. But then you look at who he's playing next to, and he's playing next to Maguire for the whole season. You know what I mean? Like, that's trying to get it's like trying to get a tune out of a fridge. Like, you know, it's not happening. It's not happening. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm very confident that we can go there and win this game. And I feel like for us to, I know it's like the thing nobody wants to say, but we genuinely are in a title race, whether we want to say it out loud or not.
Talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I was going to go there later, but now you mentioned this.
Whether we want to say it or not.
What are you saying about it? You're in the title. Do you believe we can win the league, though?
I believe we can win the league if other teams fail and crumble, and you know, and we put the pressure up. We put the pressure on. I feel like we're just in a run of form, and I feel like it's a detriment that we've got games nearly every 3 days. Like, there's nobody else there's nobody else who's doing that. Every 3 days a game, you know what I mean? And the only thing that I can think of is we don't have the squad depth. That's the one thing that will ruin us, is because we don't have the squad depth. With the amount of games that we're still playing, we're still in all the competitions. Eventually, I feel like the team's just going to come to a point where the gas is going to run out.
Yes.
And then we're relying on our second string of players who, as we seen against West Ham, you know, they're not winning us no big games. They're not winning us no titles. So it's about keeping our starting 11, our strongest starting 11 fit. And, you know, we've already got Eriksen, who's out for basically the entire season, you know, which is a huge miss, you know, and we've managed to continue fighting and continue pushing on without Eriksen. But when he's not there, you can just see that the actual ball playing, because now we're relying on Casemiro, and that's not his job to be able to find and pick passes. He is a distributor, and he's able to distribute from that defensive line. His one-touch passing is incredible, you know. But his main job is to making sure, you know, we're secure in front of our centre backs. We're solid, you know. There's no one getting through, and he's breaking up play. I'm not relying on Fred to make those creative passes and find those little gaps and those holes. So then it's falling on people like Bruno, who I feel like is an absolute quality player, but I feel like he's been stretched so much that we're relying on him so much that he in himself is trying too much as well at the same time. And I feel like that comes with the fact that it's probably the longest that he's gone without a goal as well. Like, you know, it's crazy. When he first came, he was scoring every 5 seconds on the pitch.
It's been a minute since he scored still. When was his last goal?
Was it? It wasn't. Not Wolves.
Do you remember, Eddie?
You're gonna make
I don't
me look.
remember.
When was his last goal? Bruno's last goal.
Yeah, it's
let us know in
crazy.
the chat. The
I
chat
can't
will
really
know.
remember. Yeah, I can't remember.
The chat will know. Like I said, someone in the chat will know it was. But not.
I think it was a league game, though. I do think it was a league game. I don't think.
Was it C? No way was it C. Marcel said C. No way was it C.
I think that's a good shout. That's a good shout. That's the last one.
Because I was gonna say C, and I was like, surely there's been a goal in between now and then. That's crazy.
I feel like there has been, but if it's not, he's got a couple of assists through that. But
I know he's got assists in that time.
I love him, but I feel like without Eriksen, everything kind of falls to him to be that creative midfielder, and it does show in. But he is a trier, isn't he? He's a trier. He will try anything, every pass, he's got every pass in the playbook, and he'll try it over and over and over again. You know, and you're talking, he's playing on like a 70% success rate. But when he does succeed in those passes, and those moments, you know, he's game changing. He's game changing. But it's also as well, like, I feel like he plays 90 minutes of every game. You know, how long can he do that? You know, we've not really seen him take any breaks, and we haven't got anyone else.
One thing
to kind
about
of
him, he's
put into that.
energetic. Yeah. One thing about Bruno is I never expect him to run out of energy. That's one thing I'll say about him. I'll always give him credit for.
Definitely not in the context of a game, but in the context of playing every 3 days, constantly playing. That's what I'm expecting from quite a few of the players. Is when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? But you know, we don't know behind closed doors how Ten Hag's preparing these fitness wise. You know, the mentality is clearly there. He's building that mentality with people like Casemiro and Varane, these serial winners in the team. You know, it's obviously filling a lot of them with confidence, and they're being able to draw on that confidence when games do get tough. But yeah, I'm just hoping we can push through. But in terms of the title, I just feel like Arsenal. I can't see. It's hard because I say it all the time. I can't see Arsenal win it. They're gonna crumble. I felt like on the first Dyche's first game, Everton. I felt like that was it. I was like, that's the start. This is the start. It's going to dominoes effect now. They're just going to fall. But you know, big up to Arteta, man. He's got them playing out of the skin, you know, and so that the youth in that team, some of them players, and when you look at some of the signings, you know, with the Trossard thing, you know, the amount of money that they spent on him is pennies compared to what they would have spent on Mudryk. You know, he was doing nothing, you know, so.
Yeah, he's almost at 007 settings in that trophy. He's almost there, man. He's almost there. One more game. They play Leeds on the weekend. He's 007.
Crazy. But yeah, so you know, I still feel like it's City's to lose. You know, but Arsenal are there, aren't they? You know what I mean? They're clear at the moment. They've still got to play City, but I feel like our tough games have gone. Apart from playing Newcastle again, obviously I feel like we should have won that first game anyway.
We got Newcastle away, we got Brighton away,
and we got Brighton away. If we can get through Liverpool, you know, Brighton and Newcastle, they are tough games, but I feel like we should, you know, realistically on paper we should walk straight through them. We're not going to walk through them, but we should be able to
get
them.
wins.
Yeah.
So you saying title, yeah? That's what it sounds like.
I'm not sitting. Nah. Don't put me on that. Don't put me on that.
It sounds like you saying title, you know.
I've said it a few times, yeah, and I have to rein myself in. But do you know what it is?
Like,
do you know what it is? You just I get super gassed just watching Ten Hag work. That's what it is. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Do that to you.
Yeah, we've not had this. We've not had this in a long time. First trophy in 6 years. I don't care what trophy it is. Do you know what I mean? Like the way we're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Europa League. You know, we've got a favourable draw in both ties. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And the Premier League, you would have asked me at the start of the season, I would have been happy with top 4. That's all I wanted. Just get us back into the top 4. Just get us there. Just get us there. Do you know? Just get us there. It's a slow process. You know, how many people?
6-star trophy. That's where I was at. With it. I was like, bring me
how many people?
A trophy.
How many people were talking about it's going to take United 5 or 6 years? You know, 6 more transfer windows to get anywhere near City. And look at us. You know, we're there. We are there. I still feel like we need additions. You know, and other teams are going to strengthen as well. You know, Pep getting his ass handed to him is clearly going to make him go into that transfer window with some malice. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
you know, we're all going to need to improve. But I feel like if we continue doing what we're doing, sky's the limit for us. I feel like it's there. It's within touching distance. It's within reach. If Arsenal can do it, we can do it.
That is true. So yeah, Anfield, just quickly though. So how would you like to see us set up? You go Weghorst in the 10. Would you go? I go
Weghorst up top. I go Rashford on the left, Anthony on the right. Bruno behind in the 10. Casemiro and Fred. Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, and I got Martinez and Varane with De Gea, obviously. And that's what I feel like is our strongest 11 currently without Eriksen in the team. Like I said, I like Sabitzer, but I feel like he needs to still be eased into the game. And I feel like the the relentlessness that this game's going to have and the pressure that's going to be on this game for us to win. You know, like I saying in the name, you know what I mean? Is it going to be our first victory at Anfield since 2016? I feel like that it's there. We need experience. Who knows? You know, and we need someone who's not gonna crumble. And I feel like Fred's just, no matter what happens to him in a game, you know, we've all sat there shouting at Fred. Fred. Do you know what I mean? Like, why is he on the pitch? But you know, none of that affects him. It doesn't matter what anyone says about him. He'll just do. He's there to do his job, and he'll put 100% in all the time. So I feel like that's how I'd like to see us set up. Yeah, I mean, Garnacho's in his form, but you can't. I feel like Rashford's best is on the left. I know everyone talks about, you know, is Rashford better from the left? Is he better from the right? Is he better in the middle? But I feel like he always needs to start on that left, and then we move him into the middle when we need to. You know, if we need to, through making subs. So that's what I'd like to see. That's my predicted 11, and that's what I'd like to see.
That first, I'm gonna give Eddie. I'm gonna get your thoughts on it as well. You lot continue to bump up these likes, man. Get us to 30 likes for a free shot. Share across the socials and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Make sure when you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Eddie, like 1023 just mentioned there, like the title of this episode is looking for our first victory at Anfield since 2016. How would you like to see us set up? Go there. What's your personal? More so, we all know the goalkeeper, the back four. When I ask this question, it's more so the midfield and the attack, whether it's gonna be two in the pit, whether it's going to be two in the pivot at 10, two wide players and a striker, or does he set up how he did against City, where it's three midfielders in there, two wide players and a striker? And he's got options because you got different personnel you can use with those formations.
I'm hoping he doesn't pay them that much respect. Just being honest, because I look like I'm being
talk
real,
about
man.
Eddie, yo.
I'm looking at him. I'm looking at this Liverpool team, and I'm like, our midfield is better than yours, right?
Yes.
Our back four is better than yours. Our attacking options are better than yours. From a consistency level, Rashford is the best winger in the Prem. From a consistency level. Striker-wise, they haven't had a striker really show up for them the entire year. And then you look at Salah. Salah hasn't been on the form that you're accustomed to him showing you. And so when I look at what Liverpool can look like what they try to do on the usual occasions is just run you off the field, run you off the pitch, make you make mistakes because the game is going faster than you're used to with the amount of pressure that they put on the ball. So I'm looking at our squad. I'm like, okay, we have press resistant Casemiro, right? You have Weghorst in the middle of the pitch, who's also press resistant, can get the ball out quick to the wide players. And I just think that Ten Hag has set us up defensively to where you don't really see a lot of people break us down, right? I think the last couple weeks, we can go back to the goals that we conceded. Questionable penalty to Barcelona, questionable play, but I mean, we weren't playing with our starting 11 when Benrahma hit that wonder goal. Barcelona, one mistake, the Alonso goal. The other was that fluky.
It's a cross turn shot.
That's a cross that turned into a shot. Teams haven't really had the success of breaking us down. And again, look, I'm going to say this. If you tell me in 2023, you're coming to me with the midfield of Henderson, Fabinho, and Milner. Hey man, I feel almost bad just talking about you in the format because that's a senior citizen club right there. You know, I don't want to. I'm not trying to disrespect to the elders, but I see what I see, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, hey man, ain't too much turning going on in that midfield. So I'm liking our chances from a personnel standpoint. Okay, so shout out to Marcel. He says Milner's not playing. Well, we understood.
It'll probably be Henderson, Fabinho, Bajek. Probably Bajek. They'll probably play the kid. If not him, it'll be Cato. If Cato's fit, I'm not sure if he is, but it'll be one of those.
You see what I'm saying? You said pathetic. I thought you said pathetic, but we'll leave that alone. And then you said, who's the other? Cater.
Kato. It might be Kato.
He don't want to be there any more than I want to be at work. So I get him from a personal level. I get him from a personal level. That's what I get with you guys. You know? And again, man, they have not looked the same the entire year, right? And I understand that it's still Liverpool at Anfield. We get that, but we're built totally different from a mentality standpoint for me, it seems like these are the type of games that get us really going. You know, you look at how like every big game, other than the beginning of the season, when I'd say, because that's really, if we're going to tell the truth, that's really why we can't say for sure we're in the title race because of that start that we had at the beginning of the season. I think if we had a couple more results, maybe one or two results go our way in the beginning, we'd have no choice because we're only what?
If you give us 6 more points now, if you give us those Brentford and Brighton wins, or even 4, let's say we get 4 from those 2, whole different conversation. I get what you're saying.
We're right there. So that's why I'm like, mathematically, we have to embrace it. And this game can say a lot. It can say a whole lot because I mean, I understand it's Brighton away, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, hey, this is the final, I think, biggest hurdle we have to cross.
Right.
In order to really get that attention from people who are still questioning what kind of United they see. I think you go to Anfield, and I'm with you 10-20. I see it 2-0. I do see it 2-0 because of everything in the way it's set up for us. I think, again, our midfield has to dominate first and foremost. Win back the ball. Bruno, just play that pass, bro. I understand you're not going to be doing, maybe doing a bit of everything and not so much one good thing. You're doing a little bit of here, a little bit, but just make sure you're calm in these moments and we can really capitalize. Like, we're talking about an entire back line that for Liverpool has not looked good. I understand, they got the little 2-0 against, who was it? Wolves, but Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves. They beat Wolves.
Wolves has been this season. Yeah. They've been fighters, but they haven't been producers at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, I like our chances. Marcel, hey, man, come back with the tears on Sunday, dog. That's all I'm going to say. Come back with the tears on Sunday. Marcel is our resident Liverpool supporter in the chat. He talks a lot of you-know-what. So that's another reason I'm pretty confident because he's been wrong all season. He's been wrong on United. And so to do it in his own backyard, nothing sweeter.
COVID title.
No, man, let me. If I speak, if I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Facts. You know what I'm saying? 100% facts. What I will say is, Eddie, you mentioned it there in regards to the only way I see Liverpool winning this game is getting the crowd inside and them. You said them runners off the pitch. That's why I would go with all our runners. This is why I would play Casemiro. This is why I would play Fred. I would go with the midfield 3 and play Sabitzer in there as well. Weghorst too, because it's like pure runners. Even Bruno wide right. Not because I don't think we can't get at them. I'm saying if this game is 0-0 with half an hour to go, 20 minutes to go, I think the longer the game goes level, it favors us. I think the onus is on them being the home side to get an early goal. And I think if we keep the crowd quiet and they don't get an early goal, and if we manage to get an early goal, it's over. Like if we score the first goal, this game's dead, whether that's in the first minute or whether that's in the 75th minute. But that's the only way I can see them is doing what they did, ironically, to Real Madrid in terms of getting a very, very early goal and getting the crowd inside. Then the players get up for it more because it's going to be that type of atmosphere. So that's why I would go in there and just match them. I think that's all we have to do. Eddie, you say all the time, try hards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you just have to match them in terms of energy and just try as hard as them. Yeah. This is why I would play. Obviously, we know Casemiro's a baller, but Casemiro has that dog in him. You know what I'm saying? As 1023 mentioned. So does Fred, so does Sabitzer, so does Weghorst, so does Bruno. And then you still have, with those 5 playing, like your 6 in front of your 6 in front of your defense, you got Rashford and Trent as well. And if we just need to hit every time, they play a high line. Suits Rashford down to a T. I said the exact same thing when we played Barcelona away and why I was so confident of getting past them, because I said stylistically, I said forget quality, stylistically we match up so well against Barcelona, and I think stylistically we match up against Liverpool. Us and High Lions are a match made in heaven for us.
Yeah.
Because we have players who can do that, whether it's Rashford, whether it's Bruno making a third man run, whether it's Fred, whether it's Sabitzer, whether it's Casemiro. If you have runners and runners who can run into the opposition final third with quality, you're gonna find joy. This is why what's Fred got? 5 goals in his last 7 games or something like that. You know what I'm saying, or 6 goals in his last 8. He's got more goals than certain clubs have in 2023, but that's a whole different conversation. It's a whole different conversation. But my point is, with them, I like that. And also Bruno and Robertson, because we know how important fullbacks are for Liverpool as well. So Bruno can do a job on Robertson 110%. And then Rashford up against Trent. We've seen Trent's defended like this season and how they've been in poor form. And in midfield, I would give them the ball and say, all right, you lot break us down. Because in the midfield, they don't have anybody creative there. Thiago's injured. Yeah. Look who we're looking at. Fabinho, that's not his game. I think Bajetic's actually been decent when I've watched him, but that's not his game like that. Keita, no. Henderson, no. Milner, no. So that's all your options in the midfield. And even from a creative standpoint in forward lines, like, Salah's a goal scorer. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about him creating. I'm worried about him scoring goals. And you got Nunes, you got Jota. Well, for me, Firmino might play. Like someone like Firmino will cause issues. But that's why I would go with the midfield 3. That's why I would. I would go with that and just match them and quiet the crowd. Don't give them the game. That's what I would say. Because the only way I think we lose this game is if they score in the first 20 minutes. That's how I'm looking at it, because it's their cup final. Very similar the way Real Madrid did it and gave them 2 early goals. And then Real Madrid obviously did the Real Madrid heritage thing in the Champions League and put 5 past them, but you don't want to give them 2 goals. You really, really don't. Large up everyone that's locked in as well. You lot continue to get your questions in as well. Mohammed, we kind of answered this anyway when it says question for the panel. After this West Ham win segment, who would you guys start beside Casemiro on Sunday, Fred or Sabitzer? I said both of them. You know what I'm saying? Both Eddie and 1023 said they'd like to see Fred. I'd personally go with all 3. I'd go with a very similar approach to how we did Manchester City, but that's just me.
I think I think the thing with starting all 3 is the only question that we have about 2 of them, right, is Fred and Sabitzer. Once they get the ball, the likelihood of them doing something to progress it forward, right? Like Fred wins the ball with the best of them. But Fred also gives the ball back with the best of them, right? Sabitzer wins the ball with the best of them. Haven't really seen him play too many passes that, we're talking about put our guys in line to attack them. But again, he wins the ball back in very dangerous situation. So always need, like you said, you always need somebody like that. So I think that's my only question with starting all 3, right? And at least with Bruno, if he gets that ball in the middle of the pitch when they're playing that high line, and he sees an Anthony or a Rashford have an avenue, I do expect Bruno to play that pass. Like I think it was. I think the first time I seen the potential for that was in the Arsenal game at OT.
True, that's a valid point.
Where when we got them on the counter, somebody dragged the attention away from Rashford, and then a ball was played into Bruno. Bruno plays the ball through to Rashford. Rashford goes on to score the goal. And that's my only thing when you have Fred is, if Fred is shooting, I'm here for it. If he's like really like anywhere close to the box, I'm here for it. But when it's like in the middle and you want him to play that direct pass, it's kind of sticky. That's it though.
Yeah. And don't get mistaken, I get what you're saying there, Eddie. And people in the chat don't like getting mistaken when I state that's the team I prefer. Any lineup we put out, I'm still confident of a win. So even if he goes with one that Eddie's mentioned or 1023's mentioned or somebody else, I'm all for it. If we go with a midfield pivot, let's say it's Casemiro, Fred, Anthony, Bruno, Rashford, Weghorst. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I can't stand that lineup. I'm just saying my personal preference. But if he goes with that, that's fine. Because Eddie made a great point there. High line, not only does he have Rashford to pick out, Bruno, he'd have Anthony to pick out. He'd also have Vegas to pick out. And I'm not just saying that if Bruno's on the ball, also Casemiro, also a Luke Shaw if he's fit, also a Martinez, we know what he's like with his progressive passing. I just like the fact that we have options and can give different looks as well. And myself, don't get mistaken when you say, when have you known us for having a creative midfield under Klopp flawless? That's not our profile anyway. Yeah, that's the point I'm making. Is I didn't say that. My point I was making is your midfield doesn't worry me. That's why I just match it. I would just match it with runners because I'm like, the only way I think that you lot gets some form of dominance in the game is if we give you an early goal and we're too open. Because you don't have the, I'd give you the ball and hit you lot on the counter attack. I'd purposely give you the ball. That's what I want. I want Henderson on the ball. I want Fabinho on the ball. I want Keita on the ball. Because I don't think they can, like, if you had Thiago, I'd be here talking a whole different tune. I mean, like, all right, Bruno, go stand on Thiago. Because Thiago's the one who can pick passes. But with your midfield three, I'm like, okay, cool. The only way you're going to win this, I think Liverpool win this game, is runners down and just grit, determination. I don't think it's a skill thing. So that's why I'm saying play our players who match that grit, determination. Match your effort and our better quality will show. But if we don't match your effort, then we might get caught. That's what I'm looking at. Like I keep saying, the City game. You don't have City's quality, but the way we matched up against City, where we gave them the ball, hit them on the counter attack, but we just matched that. Even though they have better quality, some would say, we matched their effort. And defensively, 10-23 already mentioned it, how defensively good we've been. And that game in particular, where we limited Manchester City, you have much better attacking quality than you lot have. City had one shot on target. So if we can do that to City at Old Trafford, I'm confident of going to Anfield and doing the same thing. Is it going to be easy? No. But I'm confident. Bear in mind, we have a Wan-Bissaka who's now in form. Hopefully, Luke Shaw's fit. He's in form. Martinez and Varane are just sheer class. Then you throw in Casemiro, who is just top world class as well. Then you have Fred, who's in the fort, who's in good form. You can maybe throw in us a bit. So I'm just trying to stifle you lot, because I think you'll give us chances. That high line will give us chances. And then even so, with my lineup, we have Anthony off the bench. We have Garnacho off the bench as well. So you could either take Weghorst off, put Rashford through the middle, and play Garnacho out wide. Like, that's an option right there. So that's all it is. It's just different looks. And to Starlord, who says, I don't think we should change formation or style. We should play our way. But our style has been playing different ways. The way we approached Leicester in the first half wasn't the same way we approached Leicester in the second half. The same way we went away to the new camp wasn't the same way we approached them at home in the new camp. It's about different looks. We don't have one style or one way of playing. Sometimes we give other teams the ball and hit them on a counter attack. Sometimes we're a little bit more dominant. It's horses for courses. Styles make fights. You're not going to fight one way, because if you just fight one way, eventually you get found out. That's what's happening with Newcastle. You know what I'm saying? Teams have realized that, all right, Newcastle don't really have much going forward. So if we just sit in, yeah, they're defensively good, we can at least get a draw. And this is why Newcastle have drew, I think, 6 out of their last 7 games. That's what Ten Hag did. Prime example. We gave them that. We're the better side than Newcastle, but we gave Newcastle the ball. There was a point, there was a stat during the Carabao Cup final. I think they had 85% possession or something like that, just before the Sabitzer and McTominay subs. But what did they look like creating? How many clear-cut chances did they create? We gave them the ball. So that's how I'm looking at it. And yeah, Liverpool ain't too far off Newcastle in terms of attacking quality. I'm talking in the midfield area. Theirs is very workmanlike. They have a Bruno G, but then it's Willock, Longstaff, Joe Linton. These are not creative players who are going to find pinpoint passes. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what goes on. Serafel says, I would start Anthony at right wing because let's not sleep on the left side of Liverpool. Robertson can create something and Anthony has a very underrated defensive skill. That's true. If we were to see Anthony there, I'm cool with that. I'm saying I'd personally put Bruno on him, but I've seen Anthony defensively is very underrated what he does in terms of helping his fullback. Yeah, I'm fully with it. I think we're all here. Malacia or Shaw in the big games this season. Malacia has done relatively well against the likes of Salah, Mahrez, Rafinha, but we all know Shaw's the much better outlet going forward. I think we'd all go with Shaw. What are you saying, 10-23? You going with Shaw?
Yeah, I'm going with Shaw only because I like Malacia, but he's still young. And he tends to get caught a little bit with the ball. You know, it happened against West Ham a little bit. You know, he's still got that little... I feel like he's still got that Evan easy kind of... Everything's a little bit slower. not everything's super fast paced for him all the time. So he feels like he's got a little bit more time on the ball than he does have. Sometimes he gets caught out on the ball, and he can get his pockets picked. And I feel like that's probably one of Liverpool's best traits is winning the ball in the opposition's final third. So I feel like we need someone who's a little bit more solid and a little bit more alert. And for me, that'd just always be Shaw. I think Shaw's, again, it seems to be another thing with Shaw. You know, you bring in another left back and Superman Shaw just decides that it's time to roll. Do you know, every time, you know, Tellez and Shaw just steps up another level. It's almost like when he feels like there's no competition, he starts to relax. Yeah, complacency. So yeah, for me, he's just another one who's playing out of his skin at the moment. It is currently in super form. So for me, any big game, it's always got to be Shaw at the moment if he's fit and he's healthy.
Yeah, well, you saying you echo that?
Eddie, absolutely. I think that's I think if we did the Dragon Ball Z fusion with Shaw and Malasia, we'd have the kind of left back that we're looking for. You know, you want a guy who's tenacious on D, but you also want a guy who can be as creative as Shaw is. But I think that's been definitely the most enjoyable part. One of the most enjoyable parts about Shaw's development is you start to see him trust that left foot a little bit more in certain games. That cross for the goal in the Carabao Cup, that's what you want to see from your left back. That ability, playing people in, and I don't think you can. I think Rashford's production has been in large part due to Shaw's kind of growth in his ability to support attacks. Might not be the assist, but it might be the way that he carries the ball.
Yeah, he's driving.
Point B. He's driving, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I would start Shaw just because I expect us to have opportunities for him to make a difference with it at his feet, and I trust him more than I trust Malasia at this point. Excuse me. So yeah, I'd go Shaw too. Now the only thing is, you know, you always have to wonder about the tenacity of the game and whether or not Shaw physically will hold up. But I think if we kind of take our opportunity to dominate the ball as much as we can and limit their ability to hit us on the break or kind of get us in our own third, I think, yeah, you'll see the best of Shaw. And again, defensively, he's been better. So that's the only thing. Like, if he has the ability, I think, to be a complete left back, but I think it's just always been for me his application and how much is he really putting himself at a disadvantage by, you know, not being the most fit at certain points during the season. So that's it. I think, yeah, Shaw, you know, I've had to come full circle with Shaw. You know, I've been sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm now at a point where I'm seeing the development of all of our players. So it's like Flawless has been with me on stream, like, he's seen the full scale development of my Shaw understanding, because it got to a point where I couldn't stand him. Then it got to a point where it was like every week I was like, you know what? Shaw had a pretty good game. So yeah, I'd start Shaw.
Yeah, that's if he is fit. Cause I know he wasn't in the squad, obviously, against West Ham.
Yeah,
I know he was. I believe he was injured. So hopefully he is. But even if he's not fit,
hopefully it's just an electrolytes problem. You know, tequila hits a little bit different during the week than it does on the weekdays. And, you know, champagne flying. Hey man,
he's enjoying the Carabao Cup. Is that what you were saying? He's enjoying the Carabao Cup settings.
Shaw Sancho illness. You know, I've had some kind of illness myself, but, you know, after certain nights of certain activities. But, you know, we'll leave that there.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Whether it's Shaw, who has been, again, I was super critical of him, and rightfully so, because his form wasn't good. But this season, been A1. Like I said, defensively been fine, but offensively offering more, and especially from set pieces as well. We've seen it in the final in regards to what a great delivery that was for Casemiro for the first goal. So that's how I'm looking at it. And whether it's Shaw. I like the fact if we see Malacia line up, I'm like, cool. I have no issue because one thing he does have is athleticism and pace. If he is out of position, because he is up against somebody tough in Salah, but I trust him to deal with whoever's over there, whether it's a Salah, whether they play a Jota out there, Harvey Elliott, whoever it is. So yeah, full faith, and especially because of how defensively we've been good from a team perspective, like the team shape, etc. And to Marcel as well, let me just get to this because he says here, I'm here looking at the table thinking if we win on Sunday, we go 7 points behind y'all after this amazing season United claim they've been having, and we've been so poor this season. Two things can be true. Your season has been poor because you went from a quadruple to fighting to get in the top 6, whereas we've gone from our worst ever season to we've gone from our worst ever Premier League season to competing for 3 cup competitions, having won 1 already, so we're on for a treble and comfortably 3rd in the league. So yes, when you look at contrasting things, yeah, if you look, the objective for Liverpool at the start of the season was to go compete for the Premier League, go compete for the Champions League, go compete for the FA Cup, go compete for the League Cup. You're nowhere near the Premier League, nowhere near the top. I'm saying at best you might not going to finish 4th, which is horrific considering you were 2nd favourites for the competition, finishing a point off. Champions League, you're always one of the favourites from. You lot just got beat. Your worst ever defeat at home in the Champions League, 5-2 to Real Madrid after leading 2. You got knocked out of the FA Cup, I believe, by Manchester City. No, it was Brighton, actually. Brighton bopped you man on the park, 3-0, which shouldn't be happening to a team who was just done for a quad. And then you got knocked out of the FA Cup, I believe it was by Manchester City, which can happen. Put that into contrast where Manchester United are, where the start of the season it was Manchester United in a top 4 race, there's no guarantee. So we're now comfortably in the top 4. We're going to finish in the top 4. Won the Carabao Cup, which we wanted to do. On for the FA Cup. On for the Europa League. Expectations. That's what it is. So yes, we've already had a successful season. Now it's just a question of how successful Manchester United season is going to be. Liverpool, your season's a failure. Whether you lot finish top 4 or not, your season's a failure. You lot could finish 10 points above us. Let's say hypothetically that happens. Manchester United finished 6th and Liverpool finished 4th, and you lot are 15 points ahead of us. We still had a better season than you. Your season has still been a failure. Our season's still been a success, regardless. Even if we don't win the FA Cup and don't win the League Cup, don't win the FA Cup, don't win the Europa League, which would be disappointing, the season still would be a success because where the objective was at the start. It'd be disappointing that we fell off. But hey, that's your lockout, innit? That's your lockout as a Liverpool fan. Big up Ryan in the cut. Just had to add context to the situation.
Shout out Ryan.
Yeah, big up Ryan every single time. He's crying about what's it called? He's crying about Firmino because he's being let go. So he's been crying about it.
He barely played, man. Come on.
Yeah. So you're saying this is going to be your team, Ryan? Alisson, Trent, Kanate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, Bajcetic, Salah, Gakpo, Nunes. All right. It's a shame Kanate's back because I do rate Kanate highly and he does give you some pace. Trent, obviously, I'd like to see Rashford target. You got Robertson. I expect whether it's Bruno or Anthony to do a job. Midfield is where this game we can dominate, whether that's giving you the ball or us dominating the ball. And then you got Salah, Gakpo, and Nunes, which is a lot. Our defenders just have to be on job, but they've been on job all season. They legit have been on job all season. And so, but RJ mentioned it earlier, actually. But actually, before we get to that, hit the like button, people. Let's bump it up. Let's get up to 40 likes. We're at 37, man. Hit the like button. Subscribe. We're only looking for 3 new subscribers as well. Subscriber check. Get us to 5,480. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and hit the notification bell because clearly you're enjoying the content. RJ did it earlier. Can somebody there's some comments in regards to the takeover as well? So yeah, RJ, if you can put them comments in, please let us know. I agree that it's been a failure. I ain't denying that, but look how bad we've been. But our metric, our bar is not Liverpool. That's what you need to realize, Marcel. I don't look at Manchester United and go, right, we finishing above Liverpool. Like, we have other objectives. Manchester United's, this is just me speaking. My objective isn't let's finish above Liverpool. My objective was trophy, 5th or 6th at the start of the season. Now my objective is top 4, which I think we'll get. And more important than that, forget even top 4, trophies. Go win a treble. That's what it is. I've said this already. Go win the Europa League, go win the FA Cup because we can genuinely do that. I even care for top 4 like that because if you win the Europa League, you get in the Champions League anyway and you get into pot 1. But speaking of that, we'll go to, in regards to the ownership, 1023, we'll go to you, ownership. So we've had Qatari bid, Jim Radcliffe bid. There's been rumors of other American investors. How are you looking at it? How are you taking all that in?
Well, currently at this moment in time, just after the news that keeps coming out, I feel like it's almost a scary proposition that the fact that I don't think anyone's going to buy us, and it could still be a Glazer owned thing at the end of the day. If I had to pick at the moment, I feel like the Qatari bid with this with Sheikh Jassim, I feel like it looks like the most promising in terms of from our standpoint, United standpoint, in terms of progression. With the infrastructure, the fact that the whole debt will be wiped, he's having 100% of the club owned, and it's not going to be financed. I heard that Jim Radcliffe's his bid is going to be for a majority stake. It's not 100% of the club, and partially some of that will be financed, but the debt won't be lumped onto us. It'll be placed onto, is it ENEOS, the organization?
His company or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like I've heard that the finance will be coming through them, but I feel like Jim Radcliffe, is he the richest man in the UK or one of them? I feel like he's a boyhood United fan. That is a positive. I feel like through the whole Glazer saga, Jim Ratcliffe's always been there. He's always been mentioned. But at the same time, has he got the funds that we need? Has he got the available cash flow to do what's needed to this club, which is massive redevelopment of the stadium, infrastructure, training ground? Everything needs redoing. Like Ronaldo said, whatever he said, in terms of the fact that we're light years behind other clubs. You look at Tottenham Stadium, you look at the Emirates Stadium. There's stadiums out there at the moment that just by far surpass anything to do with ours. The main thing, we haven't even got a screen in our stadium. Old Trafford doesn't even have a screen. You go to the stadiums, you're watching replays, VAR decisions and all sorts. We're watching a little tagline come up, VAR decision. It's so outdated, like everything. I've had a leak in where I sit for 3 years. You know what I mean? I've had a leak where I sit for 3 years. Do you know what I mean? So for me, whoever it is, they need to have the available funds to be able to do what's needed, and not in 10 years. It needs to be done in a shorter period of time. And I feel like the Qatari bid with Sheikh Jassim, I feel like that, regardless of everything else, if you take everything else outside of it and you just talking strictly football, I feel like he has the money, the funds to be able to buy the club, pump the money into it, what's needed, make the redevelopments. And, we've seen it with Sheikh Mansour, who came in and just, it wasn't about, making money or making a profit. It was about turning a team who was, nowhere and turning them into a global phenomenon. A world-beating team, one of the best teams that we're seeing currently right now, with the best managers, the best training facilities, the academy. Look at the players that are coming through their academy. So for me, we need massive redevelopment, and I feel like it needs someone who's got the money. So I'm praying and hoping that regardless of who it is, it happens anyway, because we can't have no more. I don't want to go another season with Glazer ownership. That's the one thing. It needs to be sold. So I'm hoping for just a sale, regardless of who it is. But I'll take either Radcliffe or Sheikh Jassim. Maybe not another American owner, because we've had one already. I know it's different. But maybe the way that it's looked at in terms of like the franchise, it's looked at more of a franchise, and a business rather than a footballing club. And that's what we want. We want to bring football to the front of the team, the front of what everybody looks at when it comes to United. It's got to be about the football first. I'm back to winning ways. So yeah, investment, please.
Thanks. Hey, Marcel, big up.
Shout out Marcel, man.
Go on, Eddie. Same to you as well. Obviously, we spoke on this definitely more in depth. But it seems that you got the Qataris, you got Jim Radcliffe. They seem like the two bids heading up. You know what I'm saying? I should say they're the two most prominent bids. I'm saying front runners. That's the word I was looking for. Thoughts back in 1 second. Yeah. Let's know your thoughts.
No, I'm kind of the same way. I think the Qatar bid definitely makes the most sense. I think the thing with Radcliffe is that he has a level of familiarity with the fan base. His name has always been brought up in these kinds of discussions, so you know he's serious. But at the end of the day, I just think the money is what's gonna really dictate how this entire process plays out. And I don't think the Glazers can kind of go back on this process because of how many people with big money are actually involved and how like they already look like terrible sports owners. They don't want to look like terrible business people
Mm.
dragging in all these high major bids. Talking about $4.5 billion. These people have to come and actually show for them their what's the word I'm looking for? Like their proposal to be taken serious. Um, I think for me, I'm with you. Whoever has the biggest bag, just come through. Like we need to wipe out the debt. I'm sorry that you got to go to OT and see the drift in the ceiling. You deserve better, my brother. You don't deserve that. You deserve that. You loyal to the soil. You don't deserve that. So I think anybody who has a plan for the entire development of what we have going on at United is the best bet. I think you have to understand that, and I think this is where American ownership kind of they don't get it because of how American sports are handled
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
right? Like when I tell you they just put out this breakdown of all the NFL teams, right? And which ownership groups are the best, which ones do this for their club. The amount of things that they said that were bad about these owners and the penny pinching that they do is outrageous. Like
Mm.
the NFL is actually one of the most, money print entities that America has. And they said that one of the locker rooms had a rat infestation,
That's
right? They
crazy.
said that some of the players had to pay for their own meals in the team center. So this is the type of I think approach that American business owners have to sports. Right now, there are some, of course, who are over the top and actually give you a great product, and they show you they generally care, right? Like in the NBA, you use the Golden State Warriors as an example. Like they built state of the art stadium, state of the art training facilities, and you've seen it, right? They've been champions for a long time in the NFL. You also have the Patriots build state of the art training facilities, state of the art front office, which is kind of like our director of football out there equivalent. And you see the success. They've been the most winningest franchise the past 20 years. And when you're coming to a place like United, we've seen how an ownership group like the Glazers, who's more focused on the money side of things and what that can do, really holds you back when it comes to the football because their foresight when it comes to business is one thing. Their foresight when it comes to the development of a football team is totally different. It's totally different because they're not even, I'd say, remote. Like we don't have what's the word I'm looking for? We don't have a system where you have an academy, you have a youth program. We pretty much
Mm.
get the kids right out of college,
Right,
right?
college. Yeah, it's college draft based. Mm.
Draft based, right? So the development that development part of things isn't really there. It's in any of our major sports. They're not equipped to understand the importance of having an academy and the importance of having players who develop in your academy go all the way to the top, right? And if you looked at United for the past couple of years, like we've had a couple of academy standouts, but for the most part, they've been bought from other academies, placed into ours, and then developed through time. So I'm with the Qatari investment just for the standpoint that they seem to understand exactly what it needs for this big of a club, right? The money, like again, to support this kind of club, you have to have the money to that's like out of this world. You can't
Facts.
just kind of meet the marks. You have to exceed the quotations because it's United, and so you have to really push the envelope. And I think with that level of investment, we can get to a place that we'd all be comfortable with the decisions they're making. The board, again, the board is a big thing. The board is a big thing. The board is the difference between us calling Maguire our team captain and us calling somebody else next year our team captain. That's the difference. Like those are the tiny decisions you make, and you already understand that Maguire captain decision was pretty much based on financials. You pay the guy, you pay 80 million for the guy, and at the time period you do, and you think that this is going to be our talisman of the future.
That's our guy.
Meanwhile, that's our guy. Meanwhile, he's not really putting out anything that you can really sell and promote to the fans as the future. So, it's definitely an interesting time to be a fan, but I think we're in the best position because of where our team is going and the opportunities that business wise are available to us.
Oh, that's fast. Let's hope so, man. Like I said, I've stated already. I'm waiting for. Obviously, I was waiting for the bid to then like start talking about it more in depth. I'm waiting
Yeah,
for the takeover. As long as that's why I didn't celebrate when the bid was made. People were celebrating, running around Qatari flags and Qatar this and Qatar that. These things take a
yeah.
long time to do. And there is no guarantee they sell. Do I think they sell? I actually don't know. I'm unsure. I legit have no idea whether the Glazers are going to sell or not. Do I hope they sell? Absolutely. It's Glazers out 24/7, without doubt. So to people who are like, oh, when United is successful, there's no Glazers out chance. There's Glazers out chance at every game. You can hear it. If
At
you
the
watch
Cup
Manchester
final, there
United, you
was.
can hear it. 10:23, you're there. Glazers out
Yeah,
chance
I'm
every
there.
day.
I've never been to a game in the past 3 years of my season. So my season ticket's only been for 3 years, and even prior to that, going to games, I can't remember the last time I didn't hear a Glazer out chant. It
Mm,
happens. It happens all the time. Win, lose, regardless. It doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah,
it's there.
yeah,
It was there. It
that's
was there at the final at Wembley. It
yeah.
was there.
People forget it was there. People forget when we was free peating, like winning
Yeah,
free. There was green and gold scarves in the crowd. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Go back and look. You know what I'm saying? Because we played AC Milan. I think we played AC Milan and Beckham was playing for them. And then when he's walking off to the pitch, he grabbed one. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like this nonsense that Glazers out. People only don't know. It's just not as prominent on social media. But like I said, watch Manchester United games and you can hear it. You can hear Glazers out chants all the time. Even when he was interviewing they did the interview. What game was it? It was the Barcelona game, and it was like Scholes, Hargreaves, Van Persie was all on the side of the pitch. There was Glazers out chance during the interview. Like, so it's complete nonsense that people say this. To Theo, who says, Flawless, I know the question is far out, but how many signings do you think we need to complete for the upcoming season? See, this is a tough question because it's like in an
yeah,
ideal world. I just go through the first team. I definitely think we need another midfielder. Need a midfielder to go alongside an upgrade on Ericsson. As much as I like Ericsson to go alongside Casemiro, I think we need a 10. I think we need an improvement on Bruno. I think we need a striker. So I'd say in terms of first team only, even though we need more squad players, I'd say 3. I'm saying solely for the first team. Eddie, what are you saying? Regards to the first team.
I think the only positions to where non-question we got our guy is Casemiro, Lissandro, and Varane and Rashford.
Mm.
I think, the other midfielders we could definitely improve upon, and I think that the fullbacks. I'm 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 iffy on the fullbacks because I've enjoyed how Delo can be used in certain games and Wan-Bissaka can be used in certain games. And then I've enjoyed how Malassi and Shaw can, but I think the left I don't want to get into the left back, but if there's one that's out of this world, I would not be opposed to it. Um, but yeah, I think it's more the attack. I think it's more that we need to restructure our attack because it can't just be.
Forget we got Diallo coming back as well.
Yeah, I think Diallo's a good squad player for
Yeah, I
where he's
agree.
at in his career now. I do think he's definitely showed us that he has some potential. But doing it where he's doing it now and doing it when it's called upon for United is two different things. But I think that it could be the same thing that happened with Delo when Delo went out on loan and came back. He was a different player, so I do think there is a place for him. But yeah, I'd probably say at the top of the list is the nine. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think the nine we need a game changer. I think that's the one thing that we haven't had in a long time, and that's one thing that we've always kind of been associated with is a
yes.
nine that can change the game. So I think
Hmm.
that's where I'd start first, though. I start first
Yeah,
with the
okay.
nine, build my way back out of there because I think the back half is okay enough.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't go into squad because that's a whole different conversation. That's why I just named the first team.
Yeah,
But in terms of
yeah, the
squad, we
first
still
team.
we need more. That's why I said
Yeah,
specifically when man said that, oh, back up to Casemiro. Yeah, that's a squad player. That's why I mentioned three. I said first team. It's a squad. It's like ideally two centre backs, another midfielder you'd throw in that mix. You know what I'm saying? Two more strikers as well. I would say so. But that's just me. Same to you, 1023. How many signings do you think we need to complete for the upcoming season?
So for just we speaking strictly just the first team.
Yeah, we'll go first team first. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
break it into two.
Yeah, definitely a number 9. 100% needs to be a number 9. Veghorst can't be our striker going into the
Mhm.
season. I don't feel like Rashford can be. I feel like Rashford can do a job down the middle, and I feel like eventually, within a couple of years, that will probably be a focus that he might focus. It's something that he
Yeah,
might focus on. But I think we need an out and out striker, an out and out centre forward, someone prolific. Not someone to come in and learn the trade. I think we need
of
someone who's
course.
just going to come in, hit the ground running, and start absolutely, you know, blasting goals into the net. Then I would go. See, I was with Eddie. I was on the fence. I felt like we needed a right back up until Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah,
Then
so
after not seeing him for months and him not getting a
yeah,
look in, now he looks promising.
right.
So I'm interested to see how he progresses even further into the next season.
mm,
Um, so now I'm not looking at a right back, but I would say definitely a striker, definitely number 9, and then maybe a midfielder, like you're saying. I feel like Ericsson's on the back end of it now.
yeah,
His age is getting he's not getting younger. Same with Casemiro, they're not getting younger. But I feel right now Casemiro, hands down, is one of the best, well, the best DM
yeah.
in the Premier League. Next to him, we don't have the best midfielder next to him in
Mhm.
the league who can sit next to him. So I feel like that we can improve on that. I feel like another midfielder is definitely needed because we have. When you look at, it is Ericsson. That is our second midfielder who goes next to Casemiro. There isn't
Mhm.
anyone else to put in. Everyone else that we put in is not subpar. Well, they are subpar to Ericsson. But I
Yes, I
still
hear you
feel
saying
like
it below the level.
Ericsson isn't the pinnacle. He's not
Yes.
United 100% starting caliber. He's not that
Mhm.
that top echelon of a midfielder. So I feel like
Facts.
definitely we need to go for, if it's just starting 11, a striker and a midfielder, 100%.
Striker midfield. Okay. And you mentioned it there, striker. That's been a talking point, you know what I'm saying, amongst United fans. Do you have a preference? We've been linked obviously with Harry Kane.
That's
Oshiman's
me.
been mentioned.
That's me.
Ivan Tony with so you on the Harry Kane train.
I'm 100% Harry Kane.
Okay,
Don't
talk
I
about
don't I
it.
don't want to
Oh,
hear
why?
no one talk about age. One of the most prolific scorers that we've seen in the Premier League over the last 5 or 6 years. He's been absolutely phenomenal. He's season in, season out. Um, you know, Golden Boot winner, multiple occasions.
Yeah.
I love Osimhen. I think he's brilliant. I feel like his pace. He's a strong lad as well. He can use his physical. He can use his body.
Yeah.
I feel like we just don't have the type of player that Kane is. I think Kane's a match winner. Kane is a game changer
Yeah.
instantly as soon as he walks into our team.
Okay.
As soon as he walks into our team, he turns our team from top 4 winning a Carabao Cup, maybe an FA Cup, to we're going for the league. I feel like if we got Kane and another midfielder and another centre back, if we just talk
Yeah.
of a
With the
centre,
squad.
because they feel like wise going anyway. I feel like another midfielder, Harry Kane, and a centre back, and I feel that team's ready next season to go.
Oh,
I
I
feel
agree
like
with you in terms.
with those additions.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you in terms of because I think we need 2 strikers anyway. So say we was to get Kane, I think it's
Yeah,
Kane and as well. I still think we need a
yeah,
backup
yeah.
to Kane, or say it was
We
Osimhen
defo.
or somebody else. I would say so. I was saying.
But yeah,
And
for me, Kane's the preferred choice, and I feel like Kane changes any team. You know, it was only a season ago when Pep was trying to get him, try to pull out all stops to get Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? He's world renowned for being one of the best strikers in the world. So for us to have him, even people saying he's at the back end of his career, but he's not super fast anyway. He's not super pacey. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's running behind. He doesn't do endless runs. He likes to drop into the midfield as well. His passing range for a striker as well is incredible. Like the way he can pick passes. The way he can pick passes is incredible. So I feel like he's just that perfect number 9 for us, because he can do a bit of everything. He can almost drop in and then feed the ball to the likes of Anthony, Rashford, Garnacho, whoever else we've got coming on that right side, whether it's Bruno. But then he can also be that staple focal point that we've got up top that we don't have even now. I mean, Weghorst, even now, he's only just doing a job, 6 foot odd. I'm yet to see him jump for a headed ball when the ball's going towards him as a target man. Like, it's crazy that I don't see him jump. But his ability to hold up the ball is good as well.
Underrated.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The way he holds up the ball is brilliant, and to be able to sneak those little passes through. But I feel like Kane is almost like levels and levels above that. Levels above that. I feel like he turns us into a Premier League winning side, or a Premier League title challenging side instantly as soon as he walks into our team.
My only problem with Kane is because I would sign Kane. I was just talking about his price point.
Price point is a big thing, but is he going into it?
He's in his final year. He's going into his final year.
He's going into his final year.
And that's my biggest issue. That's the biggest talking point with.
They're gonna want cash. They're gonna want a large sum of cash.
If he really wants to be at Manchester United, kick up a fuss, because then we can get him at a cut point. If we can get Harry Kane, I've said this, for 50-60 million, that's a steal. I'm saying 100%. I don't want to spend, and this is not just Harry Kane, I don't want to spend 80, 90, 100 million on anybody in the last year of their deal. I just think that's bad business. If they're not called Kylian Mbappe, I'm not trying to see you at Old Trafford for that price. He's the only player I'm like, I give them the blank check and say fill it in with whatever you want type of thing.
Throw RJ, Sheikh Jassim's number
100%. That's what it is. But with Kane, don't do silly business. Because his last year of his deal, if let's say hypothetically he wants to leave, okay, we're now negotiating, and it's like, all right, Levy, either you give him to us for X amount or you lose him on a free. Simple as that. That's what it is. But I hope if we were to sign Kane, I'm definitely not against it. But I just hope it's Kane and I hope it's not just get Harry Kane, then Harry Kane gets injured, and then we're back in the same predicament. And we gotta go loan Weghorst in January again, or some nonsense or something silly, because we know Martial can't stay fit. We're sure. I personally want 3 strikers to come in. That's my.
I forget about Martial. He's just injured all the time, and even when you see him, those little glimpses and it through preseason, he's such a he is, and he has you over. He makes you we're finally gonna see that. We're finally gonna see that proper Martial, that Ballon d'Or winning Martial that we were supposed to get. But no, it never comes. I feel like under Ten Hag, though, he's got the best opportunity to do these things that he was touted at doing. I just feel like you're saying, that he's so injury prone. His injury record is horrendous.
Yeah, it's
he just can't stay fit at all.
It's horrific. It really is.
But then when you do see him come on, the fluidity that front three has is just insane. Rashford, him, Bruno, even Sancho. Even Sancho, when he wasn't playing to his best of ability, even when Martial was on, it looked fluid. Everything looked fluid, because they're almost like those close-knitted, one-touch, two-touch passing kind of players, pass and move, and that's how it looked. So you do need that extra. We do need that extra striker. It can't just be Kane if it is Kane, because Martial, like you said, can't see fit. I'd like to see someone like maybe Benjamin Sesko. I feel like
with whoever it is, as long as Ten Hag wants, just go get me at this point. I'm just get me a second striker.
Yeah, to be fair,
out here with just one. You know what I'm saying, get a second one. That's what
of course. We can all throw names around, but I feel like at the same time, like you're saying, Ten Hag, I feel like I'd be happy with whoever Ten Hag wanted. because he doesn't seem to have done anything wrong in his entire time at United yet. Do you know, everything has kind of hit how it's needed to hit. You know, there wasn't massive expectations for Sabitzer or Vegas, but they've come in and done what you've expected them to do because they're loan signings. You know, so I'd be happy with whoever Ten Hag wanted to get.
Yeah, but speaking of new signings, this is why I was gonna go to this anyway. But Matthew mentioned this. Are you getting ready for the sequel of De Jong? So obviously there was a long De Jong saga last summer. This rumors popped up again. Obviously we just played them, knocked his team out. We'll go to you 1023. We'll stay with you 1023 on this. What's your thoughts on this De Jong saga? And take your time. You know what I'm saying? This is the platform for it. We got ample to say on. I mean, I know you've probably got ample to say on it. I haven't even spoke to Eddie about it. I know he has. He has a lot to say on it. I've got plenty to say on this as well, even though mine's going to be short on it. But yeah, your thoughts on the De Jong saga part 2.
It always seems like there's always some kind of transfer saga with some player. You know, is it the lucky second season like we did with Sancho? You know, are we going to get him at a cut price? Are Barcelona going to pay him the money they owe him? Like, it's just all crazy. It's for me. I'm a pretty stubborn guy. So for me, you made your bed. Like, you chose the wrong team. You got whooped. You got whooped over 2 legs by the team that was superior to you. You chose to stay at Barcelona. So we hear, you know, that's what he was saying. He wanted to stay at Barcelona. So for me, like, on to the next one. I'd prefer Ten Hag to then go and grab someone else. But I know that this is probably going to roll around again. The name's going to be in the mouth constantly. It always will be. As a player,
talk about De Jong all summer, man. I can see it already.
Yeah,
me and Eddie the entire summer could be talking about it.
You already know.
Yeah, the entire dog. Those. How many times did we all think it was nailed on? Like, you know how many times?
Yeah,
I was had to think, right, this is it. This week he's coming. He's coming. His medicals this week. His medicals on Tuesday. His medicals on Thursday. Like, it's just crazy. But I just don't want to see. I hate seeing that. Like, those 2 years for the Sancho thing, it was just endless. It was just endless.
Yeah.
It draws it out, and the only saving grace to that, I suppose, is that I don't feel like Ten Hag operates in that way. I feel like he's very strategic. He knows who he wants, and if he's not going to get who he wants, he moves on. You know, we went from getting De Jong to getting Casemiro, who's arguably been the signing of the season. Do you know? So I'm happy for, you know, even though I don't want to sit there and listen to it, endless Sky Sports, you know, about Frankie de Jong this, Frankie de Jong that. Is he going to come? Is he going to stay? Is he got, you know, how much is it going to be? Is it going to be 200 million because Barcelona want us to pay for all his salary that they owe him? Is it going to be one of those things? Like, I don't want to listen to it, but I'm happy for Ten Hag to pursue whoever he wants to pursue. You know, like I was saying, we didn't get him, so we got Casemiro, and that's worked out in our favor. I feel like I prefer having Casemiro having Frankie de Jong.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know, it's worked out so much better. But then I also sit there and I think, imagine having Frankie de Jong next to Casemiro.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect balance in midfield.
Yeah,
that's the
and
perfect
it is the perfect balance. The way he can move the ball, the way he can move with the ball, drive the ball forward, his distribution, his passing range, you know, and to be able to then let Casemiro concentrate on what Casemiro does best. You know, what he was renowned for in that Real Madrid team, having someone else next to him who can then push the ball forward and move it. I feel like we just see a completely transformed midfield again. I'm happy for us to go for him. I just don't want it to be a crazy sum. And I feel like Barcelona are going to accept no less than a crazy sum.
Well, apparently, man have mentioned it in the chat. Sorry to cut you off. They're in financial debt and they need to raise money, and rumors have come out.
But they needed to do that. Yeah.
Rumors have come out and said they can't buy anybody in the summer. How true this is, I don't know. This is all rumors, people. So I'm not saying this is concrete truth.
Well, at the last window, you know, they couldn't register. They had like 5 players that they couldn't register because they needed to raise so much money. That's why they wanted to sell Frankie de Jong in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, Barcelona get around everything. How they manage to survive as a club is beyond me, with the wages that they pay players. You know, Messi took them for a joke. Messi basically bankrupted them on his own. So, you know, I feel like for me to be able to, for me, I would want us to pay less than 80 million for him. Like what you said, I don't want to spend ridiculous amounts of money on players. When you're paying, what do we get Malacia for? Is it 12, 13 million? Something ridiculous.
Cheap like that.
You know,
It was like 12
you're getting
million,
Casemiro, five times Champions League winner. You know, it's just got, what's he just got? FIFA World Cup, World Player of the Year in the team. You know, like you're not paying those sort of prices for him. For me, I just don't want to go out there and spend stupid money. But at the same time, I will say, if Sheikh Jassim does come in and he wants to throw a bit of money about, it's not my money, and I'm happy.
I'm not against it. 100%.
I'm
happy
to do that.
If he wants to improve the team, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
100%. I suppose the not spending so much money on players and not paying over the odds for players was because of the situation that we're currently in right now. If you look at it from the standpoint of being owned by the Glazers, having no money ever put into the club, having to spend only the money that we make, our profit, being told we've got 100 million, 150 million. That's our entire that's our budget, that's our bank balance that we can spend on players, and then trying to spend, and spending 80 million on Anthony, taking a big chunk of your money that you're able to spend straight away on one player who isn't prolific, and he's a young player who you're looking to develop and bring into the team. For me, I don't want to spend all our budget on Frankie de Jong when, like we were saying, for me, the main point is getting a number 9
first.
But if we get someone to take over the club and we have a big influx of cash, then
everything. Someone who should be doing that.
Spend 100 million on everyone.
Yes. That's facts though. That's what it should be though. Yeah. United generate enough to the point where it shouldn't be fixed one problem at a time, like one problem, one window. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not like, all right, we're gonna do this window, then the next window we'll do this. No, why can't we go get 4 or 5 players in one window?
Exactly.
Why cannot we do that? Like, of course we can.
Bowley, 600 million.
Yeah, even though
2 windows.
He's literally done a whole 4 or 5 year rebuild in one window, 2 windows, and they're gonna go spend again in the summer as well. Yeah. Whether it works is a whole different conversation. People, I'm not saying it's gonna work or not. I'm saying he's attempting to do it. So the fact that Chelsea can do it, Manchester United are capable of doing it. We just need to have the right owners in place to go and get 2 strikers, 2 midfielders, and a centre back. Why can't we go and get 5, 6 players? Why go give Ten Hag the best possible platform to succeed? Why not?
I feel like as well at the end of this season, I don't even think it depends where we finish now, because I feel like the season for us is already a success. I feel like it's a success already. Yeah. Putting the pressure on the teams above us, getting that first trophy out of the way, still being in the other competitions. I feel like Ten Hag will have it in his head that the next step is Premier League title. And this is what I need. This is what I need. I need these pieces on my chessboard to be able to get to this and to be able to cross the finish line, number 1, with the Premier League title. And I feel like with new owners, they're more than happy to be like, this is what you want, this is what you get. And I feel like we've not had that for a long time. And the feeling of the excitement around maybe having potential new owners and having money to be able to buy who we want is it's just there, and it's on the tip of the tongue. But Frankie de Jong, I'd love him at our club. But then at the same time, like I was saying, on a stubbornness, based on the stubbornnness, I'm like, nah, you picked wrong. You
gotta deal with that.
You gotta deal with the repercussions of the fact that you went out sour in the Champions League. You came to Old Trafford thinking you was gonna do something, and you didn't. And for me, that one game for me was enough. I was like, that's it. You've now tasted it. And even there was a lot of chanting about Frankie de Jong.
Yeah, Frankie wants to score.
yeah, you know what I mean. So it was nice. It was nice. After all that, it was because it was what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't a nice feeling through that whole Frankie de Jong transfer. Like I say, the amount of times that we felt
it was drawn out. It
was so drawn out, and to the point where I really thought, right, it's done now. It was everywhere. It was all over the news. You had Ornstein, you had Fabrizio Romano, you had them all saying it was done. And as soon as you hear that, you're like, yeah, great. Oh,
It's
what a
calm.
signing. What a signing. What a start to the season this is going to be. And for it to not happen, it's just a bad taste in the mouth. So it's like, yeah, do you know what? You can stay where you are. You can sink with the ship. But yeah, please, if we can get your football sense.
You make sense. Yeah. You're with it from a footballing sense, from a personal sense.
From a
It makes
footballing
sense.
sense.
Before we get Eddie's thoughts on this as well, you lot are at 46 likes. Let's bump that up to 50 likes. So 4 more likes. Get us up to 50 likes and subscriber check. We're at 5,479. One more, people. I know there's at least one of you lot who have not hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button now and get us to 5,480 before we close out. What have we got coming up on the channel today? Oh, yeah, be a late one. 12:30 a.m. The Sarcasm City Sports Q&A, people. So half an hour after midnight, that's tonight, the Q&A where we answer all your sporting questions, not just Manchester United, because in between then I'll be 8 p.m. I'm on with Grizz. I'm on Grizz's channel. So obviously you lot know Grizz from Big Six. So I'll be previewing the Liverpool United game. And then 11 p.m., absolute car crash. You know what I'm saying? My favorite content creator rival, me and Hassam on his channel. So you already know what that's gonna be like. And he's shaking his head.
I'll be surprised if either one of you get a word in. I really will.
So shout out Hassam.
I'll be
11
rooting
p.m.
for you. I'll be rooting for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a massive. It is, but yeah, Eddie, the Young Saga Part 2. How do you? Bear in mind, you have spoken on this so many times.
So many times.
Now we're here for Part 2, potentially Part 2, because it's just all rumors currently. How do you look at it? You want him to be here? Are you against it? Chat to me.
Oh, I'm always for good players coming through the United. Always. Now, do I want to deal with the foolishness of last year again? Absolutely not. So I hope we have people. Well, it's not even us. It's just dealing with Barcelona in general. They got a lot going on over there. Like, how do you end up in the midst of being atop the La Liga table? How do you end up getting told, yeah, before we even talk about transfers, I need $178 million on the table? This is broke behavior. This is what Mourinho talked about when he said those fateful words, like, your identity is always going to be, we're not Real Madrid. And so they do these things to kind of fight that perception and become one of the biggest clubs in the world. Now, you got money laundering going on. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm in an episode of Narcos with these guys, the amount of foolishness they doing over there. And I'm looking at it, and if again, we have your coach, Frankie. Like, we have your coach, we have the setup, and we've shown you we're better than what you got right now. We've literally shown you that. You came to OT. Bruno did the. you think?
Come on, mention it. Paul mentioned that when Bruno kicked the ball against him. I like that. I'm not gonna lie. I like that. I like that. I do.
He pulled that stuff. I think Bruno was like, "Yo, I got to get this guy in so he don't come take my job." But you got him going on there, and you just see it, and you're like, maybe you might have made the wrong decision, Frankie. Like, where we're at compared to where they're at. Night and day. Like, we have a level of stability in a time where you could argue like we were at our one of our lowest points, like with the whole Ronaldo situation. And again, I got my issues with him, but I thank him every day for Casemiro, because I'm already knowing if Ronaldo is not here, Casemiro is not coming to Manchester United. And then even with the interview, we might hate the interview, but who knows? Maybe that was the final straw for the Glazers to be like, you know what? I can't deal with this. Too much drama.
Global scale.
Like, the amount of eyeballs that were on that interview because of who he was, and then for him to say what he said, you have to look at it and be like, okay, on the pitch, not really what we wanted to see, but off of it, one of our greatest players of all time calling out our ownership on one of the biggest platforms he could find. Not too bad. It's a pretty good crescendo. You didn't go out the best, but you went out of height. You went out of height. It wasn't too bad, but it was a height. So Frankie now comes in the midst of all that being dealt with, and talking about a midfielder, Casemiro, Frankie, and maybe probably Bruno, because I think Bruno has kind of solidified himself as a club favorite. But again, I think Flawless, you said it, we could improve on what he does. Yeah, I would be here for it, but I'm not here for the games. So I would hopefully, and I think, it's like you said, the same thing with Sancho, right? Like this thing took like 2 years.
Yeah, ridiculous.
For
man.
no reason.
Ridiculous.
No
For
reason.
no
reason.
reason.
Over like 5 million or something stupid.
Yes,
it
was something ridiculous. No, nothing
crazy.
major anyway. It's
Yeah.
it's the equivalent of us stuttering over a deal for 5 pence. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Something silly like that, 10p, $1 in for you, Eddie. Like it's just certain nonsense. Like,
So,
just
it's
pay
like
the money.
it's not like, I mean, again, Barcelona, we understand you need the money. Like, don't do this to yourself. We understand. You're barely keeping the lights on. You got the spot. You got the Spotify free account. Can't even get premium, so you had to go ahead and get the sponsorship. So Spotify gave you that free premium. We understand the games that y'all got to go through to survive.
New Camp, no lights.
New Camp, no lights, man. Last time I heard, they had a chaplain. They had a chaplain in a wedding. All on the
They were selling weddings. Yeah, you can get married at the New Camp. Yeah, you can get married at the New Camp.
Come on, man. Ken, we might have homes, but we're not just selling it out. We're not just letting anybody come through, man. So.
Facts.
I'm all for Frankie. I'm trying to think. We should make it like free Frankie. We should have like the T-shirts, the free Frankie T-shirts. I'm here for that. Get my guy out of here.
I hear you, fam. I hear you. In regards to it, yes, we know that Ten Hag is a fan for obvious reasons. He's a fan. De Jong impressed me, particularly in the World Cup, because that was the first time I actually got to sit down and watch him like properly, overly 90 minutes, and I was like, all right, I understand the hype surrounding this guy. Very press resistant, very good ball carrier. Not saying you lot people was lying to me. I'm saying I just hadn't seen it myself. And even when he played against us, particularly the second leg at OT, I said it. Even though they got beat, I thought he was very, very good as well. He fits what we're trying to do. Absolutely. Only issue I have is, does he want to be here? And that's where Manchester United need to deal with it. Yes, I'm not saying you go and negotiate with him, and if he doesn't answer within 12 hours or 24 hours, you knock the deal on the head, but there has to be a cutoff point. Personally, I'd give him a week. You know what I'm saying? See what he has to say. What's it called? Present the project to him, present the results to him, which he can already see is great. See what his fears are about being at Manchester United, and then try and talk it out. And if he doesn't want to be here, keep it stepping. De Jong is a quality midfielder, no doubt. He's not the only midfielder out there. You know what I'm saying? People acting like you are trying to find a wife. You know what I'm saying? Acting like that's the only girl out there. Like he's not. There's thousands of footballers. You know what I'm saying? This is on Ten Hag and our recruitment team to go and locate and find a midfielder that is suitable. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, would I like De Jong to be at Manchester United? Absolutely. But if he doesn't want to be here, cool. Keep it stepping. It's a privilege to play for Manchester United. We are one of the biggest football clubs in the world. We are not no dibby team, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's put this in perspective. Forget about on the pitch. I'm just talking about in terms of name. I'm talking about in terms of stature. We are a juggernaut. You know what I'm saying? As a brand, juggernaut. The amount of great players who have played for Manchester United over the years, even the great players we have there now, Eddie mentioned it there, Casemiro, Varane. It's not like we got world-class operators here, and beforehand.
We
need to remember who we are. 2 World Cup winners, add Martinez in the mix. You got De Gea, you got Rashford. So if he doesn't want to be here, don't beg him. I'm like, all right, cool. And I don't even take no offense to that. That was my biggest issue with the saga part 1, was that we made it take so much time. If you don't want to be, what are we discussing? What are you negotiating? If you don't want to be here and he wants to stay at Barcelona for whatever reason, let him stay. So I'm hoping that part 2 is not the same. And it's not a whole long, drawn-out Dragon Ball Z-esque saga for Frankie de Jong. Like, we don't have other positions to go and deal with. Like, there's not other midfielders out there as well. There's other midfielders. People say, who? Go find them. That's what our recruitment team is paid millions upon millions of pounds to do. Is it an extremely tough job? Absolutely, extremely tough job. But that's why you're paid extremely well. You are compensated, you know what I'm saying, for having an extremely tough job to do by being paid so well. And when I say that, I'm talking about the scouting department. I'm talking about the recruitment team. I'm talking about Ten Hag. And people will say, oh, well, the scouts will bring players to the recruitment team or to whoever, and people ain't signing off. Well, that person needs to be dealt with then. if somebody's not signing off on certain players. Go find a central midfielder. Same way Emma mentioned it before about when we was talking about the striker situation and backup, and she was like, go get a Malacia. It's like, yeah, exactly. Nobody weren't talking about Malacia before we signed him. Look how he's fitting. Nobody wasn't talking about Martinez before we signed him. And look how that's worked out. Let's not forget, Timber was the first option. Don't forget that, people. We went in for Timber first, and that didn't go to plan. And then the backup was Martinez. So the fact that we found a Martinez, the fact that we found a Malacia, go and find the equivalent of that, or go do shrewd business and go get an Ericsson on a free or something like that. And we've mentioned it already, a Harry Kane. Obvious signings are there. So that's my whole point in regards to De Jong. Just don't let it drag out. That should be a week to 10 days.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Like, sort that out. Bear in mind, Ten Hag's managed him before as well. So they have a relationship. So that should be easier. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, because I'm guaranteeing me and Eddie, and when 1023 is back, it'll be the hot topic of the summer. Because the summer's not even here, and it's already started. Already started, and we ain't even in summer yet. But yeah, we're gonna close out shortly, people. Yo, just get that one more like, get us up to 50 likes. Hit that like button. 1 like, 1 subscriber. That's all we're looking for, people. And yeah, to answer this question as well, Paul, he impressed me very much. Both legs, the first leg and the second leg. I was like, if we getting anybody from Barcelona, get him. Yeah, Balde. Someone told me he's 19. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, he's 19 and he plays that mature. If someone would have told me he's 23, I would have believed him, because he played so much, and that's just off them 2 games. But I seen him and I'm like, you have all the attributes. I'm like, if Shaw's gonna play as a centre back, go get Balde and let him and Malacia be the 2 fullbacks completing for that left back spot. That's what I would do. But yeah, we are gonna close out. We'll go to you first, Eddie. Final prediction for Liverpool game. Score prediction. Liverpool versus Manchester United, Anfield, Sunday.
I'll give my 11.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you 11. That's fine.
Probably off of form, I'll go Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Shaw. And then I'll go Casemiro, Fred, Bruno. And then I'll go Anthony, Weghorst, Rashford. And I think it'll be fast paced. I just don't think the goals will be there. I think the opportunities will be there. I just don't think the goals will be there. But I think we'll have enough, a little bit more than they will. In attack, and I'll go 2-0. 2-0.
Same 2-0. Same question to you, turn 23.
Oh, score prediction. Same lineup, same score. Yeah. I'm gonna go 1, and I'm gonna say Anthony's gonna get 1. Sweet left footer. Okay. And I'm gonna say Casemiro's gonna get the second.
I like that.
You went very specific with the goal scorers as well.
I feel like an early goal from Anthony, and then it's towards the back end of the second half, Casemiro goal just to seal it.
Yeah. Okay. I hear that. All right. We'll find out. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying 2-1 Manchester United. I'm confident saying 2-1 Manchester United. So all wins here. 1023. Big up for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Anytime, man.
Yeah,
I'm saying big up for making your debut on the channel as well. Yeah, you did absolutely killed it. But I already knew that. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing about artists, like when you get them talking about ball, like I've noticed it's just a common theme. You know what I'm saying? Musicians can talk football, they can't. But let them know where they can find you, what you've got coming up, and all that good stuff.
So you can find me on Instagram, produced by 1023. That's produced by 10 TEN and then 23 the number. Same on Twitter. That's where I usually hit all my football stuff. Twitter's the space for the football talk. And coming up, I've got an EP coming out at the end of March, which should be pretty cool. So you can look out for that. That'll be on all streaming platforms, and 2 singles as well. So keep locked out. I'm sure you're locked in. I'm sure you'll see me on air again soon. Definitely. I appreciate you, Eddie. I appreciate you, Flawless, as well.
With the EP, I'll make sure after the EP drops, I'll get you on that following week.
You know bless.
There you on the next few days. I'm saying whenever your EP drops, I'll get you on the following week, 110%. So yeah, produced by 1023. You got any visuals dropping with the EP as well?
I've got one dropping again late March, but that's for a single. And then there might possibly be 2 more for the EP, but we'll see how that goes.
What YouTube channels they dropping on?
So the YouTube channel that I'm gonna do own YouTube channel, which is just produced by 1023 as well.
Okay.
Just try and do my own one.
Yeah,
See
that's
how
right,
that
man.
goes. Plug it myself.
Nah, plug that. I'm gonna try find it now to add it to the title. Give me a second. I'm legit gonna do that. Let me see if I can find it still if it pops up.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, it's I am 1023 my YouTube.
I am 1023.
Apologies.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm legit gonna try add it to the title now and also drop it. I'll drop it in the chat as well. I will drop the link in the chat. But you lot make
Appreciate
sure. I'm saying 1023. I already tagged him in the tweet. I tagged him in my story on Instagram, so you can go follow. Extremely talented people.
Yeah, I just gave you a follow on Instagram.
Oh, thank you, Eddie. You're going back to
Yeah,
man, there we go. Yeah, I am 1023. All right, 1 second. Let me add that. Hold up. Just literally gonna add that. You lot bump up the likes as well while I do this. You know what I'm saying, bump up the likes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Yes, I am 1023 and then 23 again. Looking Glass Visuals. That you.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
is that where it comes up as well? Oh, yeah,
that's
crazy.
What comes up. Yeah, that's what comes up.
That's when I used to do some visuals for people.
Yeah, that's what it comes up as when you tag it. So people, I've literally just tagged it in the title right now. So all you need you to do right now is click the link in the title. It will open up a new tab, and then you can subscribe to 1023's channel. That's how it works.
Thank you.
I'm saying, make sure you go and subscribe. Eddie, anything you want to add before we close out?
No, man. Thanks always. Appreciate the chat. Yes, Liverpool. It's about to get dark. It's about to get dark, yo. Man. We ain't holding back. I need a lot of payback. I tell you what, it won't get me over what we saw last year, but it'll be close to do that over there. So yeah, love people every time.
Yeah, there's nothing better than winning at Anfield. So it's like hopefully we break this duck and win there and get the victory and the momentum. But there will be a watch along for it on the channel as well. But check out the upcoming live stream schedule. Let you know all the shows that are coming up. The ManDem United podcast will be back Monday, people. Obviously, you get this show every Monday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Friday, 4:30 p.m. right here. But I've already updated the upcoming live stream schedule all the way till next week Sunday, so you know all the shows that are coming up. But this has been the ManDem United podcast live on the Sarcasm City TV YouTube. Big up for tuning in.